Hello everybody, can you guys hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? Alright, perfect guys, so welcome to Transcend Capital. Today is a very special day, as you guys know. We got the beautiful news that the Federal Reserve is gonna lower interest rate by 25 basis points, and as you can see, we had a little bit of volatility today on the lower time frames, but the main structure remains to the upside. Basically, what happened today is we were just oscillating between these two areas, and we failed to break the low of the range, which was at 114.546, and we have the resistance that's gonna be in the next target soon at 117,000. We basically kept these trades. If you guys remember, we took them last week. I also didn't have much time to upload, but basically the same trades that we've taken before. You guys can check it out. This was our entry on BTC at 110.768, which was on September 9th. So actually, this swing trade is almost 7 days. The thing is, I would be more cautious to enter now the market. I see people opening now positions. The best way is always to anticipate and not participate, as you guys know. And this is exactly what our trade idea was, to long before FOMC, and it paid off. So we're currently $105,000 in profits, and on WLD and on Bitcoin 526,964. You guys can see right here. Let's go guys, let's go. Thank you guys. Please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and show some love for the content that we're providing. Everything is shared in my Telegram, all my entries when I'm entering, and we're not entering here with small amounts. We're actually building big positions. So on BTC with the 20x leverage, it was a $11 million long. You guys can see it right here. And on WLD, it was a $1.3 million long. Actually, let's check out the WLD just so you guys have an idea. When did we enter exactly? So as you can see, we entered WLD just before the pump. And guys, go to my Telegram channel. You will see that I actually shared this entry. Look at this beautiful entry, guys. Isn't this perfect? You guys can check out Telegram and you will see. Let's pull the Telegram. Let's pull the Telegram, guys. Let me just check one thing. Okay, so you can see right here. So basically, this is when I entered long. Can you see that, guys? Everything was shared. 88 cents. 88.03. And that was on September 4th. Exactly right here. And I had my $1.3 million, and then I added a long on BTC right here. So this is again September 4th. You can see right here, $11.8 million with an average entry at 110 and 768. All right, so are you gonna hold the BTC long until $118,000? Why are you saying till 118? Why aren't you saying till 120? Why are you setting targets to the market and we're in the middle of a continuing bullish trend? Right? As long as we stay above this range right here, above 114,500, there's no worries about Bitcoin. Expecting a rejection from here. Who's expecting? You are expecting? I'm not, man. I'm not. Brother, we're not here to play games. I'm trading 6 figures on this account. And usually if I'm entering, that means that I have strong conviction about the market. All right, we don't do no scalping, no Humpty Dumpty trades. $118K, 0.6 fit from high to low. Bro, you need to understand that the market has changed right now. We have a interest rate cut. Capital is going to be flowing into riskier assets. The cost of capital is going to be obviously cheaper. Companies are going to be able to, get loans, expand and grow much easier. So, that's going to be overall good for the economy as long as interest rates doesn't fly up. Let me share the link of the YouTube on my channel. There you go. There you go. My dear friends, the market is gonna pump. It's going to pump, guys. This is looking really bullish on the 15 minutes. What do you guys think? Should I be taking profits now? What do you guys should think? Guys, the trade was actually to get long way before, a week before now. That was the trade, and to hold the position. That is the trade. Should we put some music on? What do you guys think? You can put some chill music on, right? Yeah, of course, because the market is not going to give you exactly similar patterns that happened before. There's no way for that. Every situation is different, guys. Every trade is different. But gosh, I like my WLD trade. Look at this, guys. Come on, look at this. I 20x longed 107. No, man. That's not the way to trade, to swing trade. You have to make sure you have a good entry and ride it. So you basically, you entered even below my entry. 107,400. Guys, learn to swing trade, guys. Guys, heat maps and liquidity and all these things, they're not that accurate. I have been trading for almost 8 years.
We are not the lead agency. FBI, State of Utah DPS, Utah County, UVU, big collective effort. So our involvement, I describe it as just a really long agency assist. So we're not conducting the investigation. We're not doing interviews. I've been asked some questions, and there's some that I'm just not going to answer. It's going to be focused on how we were able to get Tyler to voluntarily come and turn himself in at my office. That's going to be the scope of it. I do want to touch on, so I have a retired corrections deputy named Matt Robinson. There was some initial news that, to the extent of ridiculous information out there that Matt Robinson is currently a deputy with the sheriff's office, and he physically put handcuffs on his son, the suspect, and brought him into jail. That's completely false. It just so happens that Tyler's father is Matt Robinson. There was some information about a retired deputy, so somehow that got blurred in the media, and I want to make sure that we're walking that back as best we can, because Matt Robinson, my retired deputy, has been been harassed. He's had to leave his house at this point. So whatever you can do to help walk that back, I'd appreciate it. His family would appreciate that. So getting into the details. So obviously we knew Charlie Kirk was assassinated at UVU in the afternoon. About a 33-hour manhunt ensued. And I was winding down for the evening, and at exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general. So I get a call from my friend, and his said, "Hey, how you doing?" Good. And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like, who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk's shooter is. I know the family through religious association." And
man, this is really
he's in Washington County now.
Treatment
of we're working on
freedom of speech in the United States right now.
During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler.
People can't talk anymore. That's crazy.
Was en route to a remote area of Washington County. The parents convinced him not to do that, and conveyed that they would stand by him and help him surrender peacefully. So at that point, that phone call was 1 minute and 41 seconds. I immediately called Sheriff Mike Smith in Utah County, who I knew was at the incident command in Utah County. So for about 40 seconds, I'm telling Sheriff Smith, "Hey, I'm confident we have the shooter in Washington County. We're working on getting him to come in and surrender at my office." We didn't have him yet. And after about 40 seconds, Sheriff Smith's like, wait, what are you talking about? So he was shocked, as I was, to hear the news. And so I repeated myself. He said, "How credible is it?" I said, "I trust this guy that called me with my life, and I think it's time you need to get your people, the lead investigators, headed to Washington County." Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. So that was part of the deal. Is Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news. He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened. So since we weren't the lead agency, basically it was about a 2.5 hour waiting in a room, not communicating with the suspect. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here. So after about 2.5 hours, we ended up getting federal agents and state agents in, and some of my detectives were asked to go out into the community and secure 2 locations, so the parents' home and the apartment that Tyler was living in, along with the vehicle that Tyler was likely driving up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as a doing something good here.
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it is just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived. So.
Sheriff, you mentioned you got a call from a retired detective. What went through your mind in that moment when he told you what was about to happen? How did you negotiate with Tyler or his family? So what were your first impressions when?
So shock, right? So like I said, I couldn't imagine the conversation that occurred in that minute and 41-second conversation. But there was negotiation. There was some criteria that needed to be met for him to voluntarily come in, and I agreed to those terms.
What did he ask for? Can I ask?
He basically for a peaceful, gentle, comfortable transition for him to come out. Again, he knew he was going to get caught. He didn't want a big SWAT team hitting his parents' house or his apartment. He was truly fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So that the conditions were as relaxed and comfortable and almost to the point of, inviting. And if at the end of the day, we accomplish him surrendering peacefully on his own.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to make some concessions to make that happen.
And what was his mood when?
One of the most shocking deaths ever. I mean,
quiet and somber.
You're just talking to a group of people, sharing ideas and thought, end up being killed for sharing your thoughts. It's incredible. And this is in the country where freedom of speech is highly valuable.
Was
it somebody in the ward, LDS ward?
Yeah, I would say that, but not in leadership. Unfortunately, the bishop of that ward has been drug into it because of some of the media reporting. But that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
About the bishop.
Yeah, the bishop wasn't involved in this.
But you're not releasing the identity then of the family friend?
No, absolutely not.
If you could speak to it, did the sheriff's office have any interaction with Tyler Robinson in previous incidents?
I've been asked that a few times, so it's well known, it's in the media. Tyler's apartment was in St. George city limits. The parents' home was in Washington city limits. So since the sheriff's office is primarily patrolling small rural communities, the unincorporated areas of the county. If there were any calls to the residents in St. George City, the highest probability that just St. George City would handle that, not the sheriff's office. So I don't have any data that would support that one way or the other.
Thank you. Sheriff, have you interviewed his roommate, Robinson's roommate?
No, we're not the lead investigators, so we wouldn't be doing that.
Sheriff, how would you characterize the parents of what you knew that night?
I don't know anything about them.
Were they mentioned in the phone calls?
No.
Sheriff, how do you feel about the fact that this surrender happened as it was in the police office, at the police station, and kind of was peaceful, inviting as you framed it, and not like a SWAT situation or a big operation that happened in the neighborhood?
Right. That made him comfortable enough. The conditions were satisfactory to him to where he ended up getting a ride with my friend to be dropped off here. We did have some initial discussion internally. So I run the county jail, and we have to think ahead. So what if Tyler ends up staying the night in our facility? What does that look like? Because of the circumstance, he was driven to Utah County that night, I'm going to say maybe about 2 in.the.morning. So that took that weight off us on how we're going to keep him safe in our facility and talking about constant supervision and things like that. But that didn't occur. So.
How did you feel about that? Having a surrender at the police office versus something else?
Well, obviously it was a big deal. Not only national but international. You're seeing people mourning all over the world for Charlie Kirk, and to have that happen. I've had thoughts and heard comments about, this kind of stuff doesn't happen in Utah. Unfortunately it did. But then to have the suspect be a Utah resident who literally went to the same high school I went to, we're like 30 years apart, but I went to the same high school. He happened to go to the same high school here in Washington County. So it's a double shock factor that one in Utah and then The suspect happened to be homegrown Washington County boy. So
What time did he get here?
it was just before 9 p.m.
And what did you do once he got here? Did you put him in handcuffs?
No,
Nothing
nope,
to do.
nope. Made sure he had water, made him comfortable sitting on a couch in an interview room, and just sat on him until the lead investigators came in.
So his parents didn't say anything at all?
No, not again. That was not our place to ask questions. It was just, we have you here. We're in a holding pattern until the lead investigators get here. So that wouldn't be in our wheelhouse. We wouldn't even have attempted to interview any of them.
Sheriff, can you provide some more details about this detective, a friend of yours, a retired detective? Was he a member of your homicide unit, violent crime?
He was a detective. He was for many years. He was a detective. So in our agency, our detectives, like some cities, you have detective just working homicides or just working sex offenses. Ours is all encompassing whatever case comes next, and you have the smaller caseload. You're going to get whatever case that is.
How long has he been out of the force?
About 3 years.
How grateful are you the fact that this ended the way it did and not in a violent outcome?
Oh, very, very, very much. Like I said, concessions were made to make that happen. So if, again, peaceful surrender, make him comfortable. He's accused of a horrific crime. So it's kind of odd to be in that, again, accused of a horrific crime, but then we are treating him very civilly, very humanely, and that's just part of the job. We do that on a regular basis. Try to make people comfortable so they're relaxed and not bombard them with negativity or hammer fist or stormtrooper type approach. We wouldn't do that.
Sheriff, how many total phone calls were made between you and the retired detective?
There were several follow-up phone calls that night. One was between my command staff and my friend, just them letting me know, hey, he is in the building. We have him in an interview room, and there's been several follow-ups since then. Just me checking in on him, and
all the way from that first call to say we're here, kind of a phone call.
Correct.
Prior to him turning himself in, did you guys have any clue that maybe he was in the Washington area at all?
No, not even a hint. And that was part of the shock factor, right? Is he could have been anywhere. Most people that are involved or accused of things like that, they'd want to get out of the area as soon as possible. So the fact that he came home basically was part of the shock factor, I think.
You said he was afraid of being shot. What did he say exactly? How did he express that?
Just that.
Any concerns for
just that. Yeah, one of his fears of being shot by the police. Period. That's it.
Was your friend that said that, or was
that my friend conveyed that to me through conversation with Tyler's parents.
any concern for the family and the roommate's safety if and when they come back to their home in Washington City or in St. George? Any concerns from
No, absolutely. They need to lay low for a long time, unfortunately. So even, I'll throw this out there. I have a second cousin with the last name Robinson. He happens to be an optometrist in town. And his office has been receiving threatening phone calls just because of his last name. So to put somebody in that kind of burdensome situation when they had nothing to do with it, no relation to the family, just think about how the actual individuals involved in this incident are feeling right now.
Are you placing any deputies at their house, outside their house, anything like that?
So that's not our area of patrol, so the cities would handle that. If that request came in, but I don't have any insight there.
Sheriff, can you describe the handoff that occurred from Tyler Robinson to the authorities that came down from the north?
Yeah, they parked in my parking lot. Oh wait, the lead investigators. So by the time they were in town, Tyler was sitting in an interview room with his parents when they arrived. So they were already in this building when the lead investigators arrived.
And how did that handoff go down? Was he handcuffed?
No, he was sitting on a very comfortable couch with a water bottle in his hand, not restrained. He was again cooperative, somber, quiet.
Sheriff, since then, what has this whole ordeal been like for your county and your office?
I've all of a sudden received a lot of media requests. So that's what's changed in my world.
So the parents were in the room, in the interrogation room.
Correct. Correct. That was part of the negotiation to get him here, is that the parents would be with him when he arrived.
Can you explain the last moments that did they hug? Was mom crying?
I don't have any detail on that. I'm sorry.
And he was turned over to FBI or state?
It's a joint investigation between the FBI and the state of Utah primarily. Anytime anything this large scale happens, it's all hands on deck. So we're going to need a lot of, just covering the campus and securing the crime scene up north. We've had, active shooter incidents down here recently where every law enforcement wearing every uniform in the county is going to go to those types of scenes.
And just to be clear, he was not handcuffed when he was...
Correct. He was not handcuffed.
Did the Sheriff's Department help secure the perimeter?
Office.
Excuse me, thank you. The office, didn't you help secure the perimeter or the...
Yes, so since the lead investigators were, 3 hours north of us, it took them a while. So that was, again, I describe it as an agency assist. We went and just secured the homes. We didn't search the homes. We didn't communicate with anyone within the homes. It was just, we were just locking things down until they arrived.
That was Thursday night?
Yes.
Thursday night.
Yep.
Is the roommate in protective custody? Or?
I don't have any comment on that.
How do you characterize the interactions between the parents, Tyler and Tyler, in the time that they were sitting here?
They were together. That was it. I can't point to any emotion or body language or anything to that. They were just with him. So.
Was he recorded in that room?
All of our interactions in that room are recorded.
I know there was some discussion of him being potentially suicidal instead of surrendering when he was in the holding room here. Any concern about that?
No. Okay, we can sit here and stare at each other all day, or we can be done. Good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just listening in there, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby talking about the interaction, the investigation, the tips that ultimately led there to bringing Tyler Robinson, the suspect in Charlie Kirk, the alleged fatal shooting there, into custody in southern Utah. This from Matt Finn, noting part of what we heard. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin was afraid of SWAT team. They were going to surround his home and shoot him, according to the sheriff. The alleged killer told his parents he wanted to commit suicide instead of going to prison, but he ultimately surrendered in a low-key manner, according to the sheriff, talking about some of his demeanor while they investigated him before lead investigators returned there to that area in southern Utah, about 240 miles southwest of Orem, Utah. I do want to talk right now quickly about a breaking news event that we are monitoring right out of York County, Pennsylvania, in a developing situation of an officer-involved shooting at this moment. I want to put this up here on Live Now from Fox from the Washington New York Post, saying schools and hospitals in York County, PA are on lockdown after a police shooting. Very active scene there, and this is really just north of Baltimore, west of Philadelphia. Governor Shapiro saying, I've been briefed on the situation involving law enforcement in York County and am on my way there now. We ask those in the area to please follow the directions of local law enforcement and PA State Police. He also continues to go on to say, Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday, I'm aware of the ongoing situation in York County. I urge all the residents to follow the instructions of local law enforcement. He is en route to the area and praying for all of those involved. So also from the representative saying closely monitoring reports of a police officers being injured responding to this incident. We do have this live picture there on the ground of what's going on. Very preliminary information, as there was a school, different areas on lockdown following this very active incident. All right, so just getting reports now that the lockdown has been lifted in that area. So still very developing story out there of southeastern Pennsylvania. We're going to keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox. We're back after this.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna leave it for here. I'm gonna still, of course, monitor Bitcoin for the upcoming days, and yeah, I'm expecting some more upside to come. I don't think that it's wise to open a position right here, especially in the middle of the range, and preferably if you opened it a week before when I entered, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, unless we get a strong reaction, then it would be interesting to enter into a new long, but on altcoins, not mainly on BTC. I think you can get some more upside on altcoins.
Right, here to live now from Vox. I'm Andy Mack. Let's turn our attention to the big economics news of the day as the Fed Reserve has decided to cut interest rates by 25 basis points, the first cut of this year, but also signaled more to come in before 2026. But as investors, people in the market trying to read the room, still a little bit of uncertainty. As you can see now, climbing about 260 points here on this day as markets closed a little bit ago. Let's be joined right now here by economics correspondent, columnist for Politico, Victoria Guida. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And we saw what the quarter point interest rate is about. We heard from Jerome Powell. What did you make of this development?
This is the first rate cut, but we don't know for sure how quickly and how fast more might come because the Fed is still a little bit worried about the fact that inflation is ticking up. And the reason why they took this step today is because they're worried about the labor market. And so if we continue to see signs of economic growth, we could see more cuts.
And when we heard from Jerome Powell, the Fed Reserve Chair, plenty of pressure on him from the Trump administration, he said this was a risk management cut. What did he mean by that?
So as I was sort of indicating, you know, there's risks on two sides here because higher inflation calls for higher rates and a worsening economic picture, a slowing labor market calls for lower rates. And the problem the Fed is facing right now is that basically we're seeing both. And the judgment call that they made today is that the risks to the job market are bigger than the risks of sustained inflation. But he said, you know, basically there's no path that they're going to take that is without risks, whether they hold steady, whether they cut, there are risks both ways. And they saw this as the least risky thing to do.
And we saw maybe some change of voices inside the room. Stephen Moran was there. Lisa Cook was also present for this, despite some of the controversy around her. Moran potentially wanted a 50 basis point cut in terms of that. Was there any possibility of that becoming fact that they even jumped to half a percentage?
So Jay Powell was asked about this at the press conference, and he said there wasn't very strong support for a 0.5 percentage point cut in the room. But as you mentioned, I mean, Stephen Myron did formally dissent on this, and we could see further potential for dissents. I mean, if they do decide to potentially hold steady next time, we could see some dissents because we got projections from each of the Fed officials of what they saw, and you saw a little bit of divergence where, you know, some are more interested in rate cuts than others. And so, you know, that's why markets are trying to suss out exactly what's next.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting what comes next. And you mentioned on the horizon the potential more cuts, but they're now kind of weighing that economic development over the inflationary impacts. What needs to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the overall situation with Powell and interest rates, it's not an easy one to understand.
Inflation, you know, if inflation does go up in a really concerning way, that's going to give the Fed pause. If we continue to see more of what we've been seeing, they might be more comfortable cutting a little.
We initially need the inflation to go down as the interest rate cuts are occurring. Because if inflation is going up, that's going to be an issue for cutting interest rates.
And
just like
they might not do that would be if they have reason to get really concerned about inflation again.
That is a very good point. I do want to ask you, because it's interesting to listen to the comments by Powell and then kind of superimpose what we see in the market immediately over it, because every syllable seems like people are hanging on. We saw it dip below into the red today. Was there anything in particular that concerned, that scared investors?
That you mentioned, the wording of the risk management cut, right? that was a signal from Chair Powell that, more rate cuts are not necessarily guaranteed. If this was a clearer signal that this was beginning of a cutting cycle, then markets would kind of know what to expect. But they're a little bit nervous now because he made that comment.
Yeah, he said this wasn't necessarily a placid time. There's a lot of volatility just in terms of all the economics.
Yeah, guys, nothing is guaranteed,
anything
right?
else that I'm missing before I let you go?
So I do think that one thing that's very interesting about this meeting is that we got a projection from Stephen Myron, who just joined the Fed, and he looks like he's going to advocate for significantly lower rates. That's in line with what President Trump has been calling for, and so it'll be really interesting to watch how that sort of plays out because he just joined the Fed literally yesterday. So we're not really sure exactly how that's going to play out over the next few months.
Yeah, and of course, Jerome Powell continuing to kind of talk about the independence.
For us right now, for our swing trade, we need to stay above this range that you guys are seeing right here.
Great to be with you.
All right, thanks so much.
So 114,500 would be an area that I'll be watching out.
Some volatility there, like our heart rates reading some of these tea leaves in what Jerome Powell was saying. I'm Andy Mack. We're back after this.
Alright guys, so this is for the live stream. In case if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write them in the comment section, and yeah, I'll reply to them on the next video. Have a great week ahead and take care everybody.